Hello, everybody. It's good to be back with you. You're looking at a new camera tonight, not a new Fred, but a new look at the office and at myself through a good high def camera. We got a Brio, and just, I don't know if it's going to improve anything or not, but you can know I'm trying. So uh, tonight's verse is number 24. Is Neti Neti. Not this, not this, is a very old and powerful means of discovering what we are not. We need to see what isn't before we can see what is. Meet thought with rigorous non-dual inquiry, and you meet life as it is. This is, we hear a lot about neti neti, about trying, uh, why don't you try neti neti? It's what, not this, not that, whatever. And we hear, I mean, at least I don't know about you guys, but I heard a lot about neti neti when I was coming around because it was kind of a cool word and all that, and this idea that we should not this, not that, not this, not this. I mean, we kind of like that, and I don't know why, but we didn't do it, right? And the funny thing is that teachers would mention it pretty regularly, but none of them would do it with you either. So the living method is like neti neti on steroids. And that's what an awakening session is, by the way. It's like neti on steroids. And we use inquiry. I am the inquirer or the apparent inquirer. I am inquiring into you. I'm asking you questions, and then you have to ask yourself what the answers are, and give them to me. So, I also got a new chair. It's a little thing. What do you say? The so at any rate, but I never had a teacher do neti neti with me. I never had. I mean, I never had a bunch of teachers anyway. I never had a teacher for really much length of time. But um, I was trying. I was working with them. I just, for one reason or another, I always felt like they were a little behind. I mean, I didn't just, but or other, their understanding was not didn't match what mine was. Let me put it that way. It would sound a little less arrogant, but I just frankly trusted my own views. And my first teacher, who was a good one, Scott Killaby, he told me early on. He said, "Fred, it's good that you keep your ears open to other people and what they say, but it's time that you start listening to what you say." And because you're very clear. And so I did that, and I've been doing it ever since. So I really became my own guru. But I was reading lots of other gurus, and I was watching YouTube still. But I'm not got to where I'm watching many YouTubes. And I was still reading, and then I got to where I'm reading so much either. And you go through phases where you're doing that, you're meditating, and you're reading, you're doing all this, and then you notice that you're not. Um, and that's okay. But don't do that with inquiry, please. With inquiry, you need to get in there and do it, and you need to stick with it, and you need to do it with paper. That was suggested to me, and I suggest it to you. It's not an ironclad rule, but we're looking for what is the way that most people wake up most of the time. And with inquiry, and with the inquiry, Glenda will be very good working with you with inquiry. Um, but I just took a piece of paper and I would write down. I really use Byron Katie's method. It's a very good method. It's not going to take you to enlightenment, I don't think, or it might if you're lucky. But what it will do is it will strengthen your ability to tell yourself the truth, and it will clear your mind, and it'll do a lot of things. It's very good. It's very good practice. And I love Byron Katie. I got a picture up there somewhere. It's just, for me, it wasn't the type of inquiry that it did me a lot of good, but it just wasn't going to wake me up. I could see that, right? I just knew it. Just this is not really clearing me that way. It's clearing up my relative life beautifully, and there's something to be said for that. So, but you can use her questions But I use what I really got down to was I didn't use her normal format of questions. She has another one, and it's the what is it? You question yourself. What's your see if I can remember it. It's not you question your, she's got them where you ask you question your neighbor and all that kind of thing. And that's fine if it works for you. But the one I found was what it was checking on my beliefs. So I believe so and so. Is it true? Is it so true? And there were some that I had to do a lot, which was I was poor as a rat, so I would check uh, regularly to see if I had enough money, and I always found out that I did, and I hated it. No, I just wanted more money, but I kept finding out I didn't need it, right? Because that was the truth. I didn't need it. I had a big lie that told me I needed it. It told me I needed it when I had a whole lot more money than I did when I was first getting sober. So it's just an addiction. It's an addiction to more. Whatever amount you got, I got millionaires, and some of them are happy, and some of them aren't. The ones who aren't, uh, yeah, oftentimes it's because they don't have enough money. So sorry, guys, I don't mean to tell tales on you, but neti, you're not this, you're not that, you're not. First of all, you're not the body. Second of all, you're not the mind, right? And people ask me about the soul, but I never have found one. I really haven't. I don't know anything about the souls, but mind and body I can tell you about, and what you really are I can tell. Well, I can't specifically spell it out, but I can certainly get you on the right track to what you really are, and I can hold your hand, and we'll go and see what we can do there together. Right? Seems to work very well. But it's all about questions. You don't need to come here for answers. I don't have any answers for you. Answers won't advance you anyway. They really won't. 'Cause you know what you do with an answer? You ask another question. Well, why does it work like this? Because, well, why? And it just never stops. Yeah. And is it true, Fred, that, and like, it's really always about who's asking, folks. It doesn't matter what the question is. It's really it's who's asking the question. That's what we're really always after. With the inquiry, we're not necessarily even after. We're not even necessarily after answers. We're just after the pause that comes when the mind goes blank when it's searching for answers, and the mind just goes blank. And in that moment, if everything else is right, if you're just lucky or whatever, I don't know what does it. But if you're in the right place, when you hit that pause, awakening occurs. You can't predict it down to the hour or something, but I can usually predict the day that somebody is going to wake up. Because I'm going to predict the day that they have an awakening session with me. You know, but it's not necessary that you have an awakening session with me or anything with anybody else. You don't need a teacher unless you do. And if you've been at this thing a while and you've been trying to do it by yourself, you might want to get a teacher. And I mean, get a living teacher. And I mean, get a living teacher who knows your name and you know their name. The living teacher knows that you're a student, and y'all have that kind of relationship because, you know, um, Nisargadatta has always been has been my teacher for many, many years, but he's been dead, so he certainly doesn't know who I am. And by the time I got to him, I already had a real good idea about things. So I didn't really need um, to be taken through the basics any longer. I just need to be shaken and told to get honest and then get honest. It's hard. And then when you have to stay honest, that's the thing, is because the truth is I was a thief most of my life. I mean, I really was an opportunist thief. And it's terrible, but I would like to tell you that I had some of better past than this, but I didn't. And so you can see you don't have to be particularly perfect or even that good to end up being a spiritual teacher. Now, I wasn't thieving and everything by the time I got near an awakening either. That was always in the past, but I did it, Still the karma, if there is such a thing, was on me. And it didn't seem to hold me back. It doesn't hold me back now because I'm honest now. And see, this is all about right now. It's not about, well, I was a bad boy 12 years ago or 8 years ago or last month even. It's not about that. It's about how are you right now? Who are you right now is what it's really about. Who are you right now? You're not talking to Fred. So if you think you're talking to Fred, you're hallucinating. There is no Fred. It's absolutely no Fred. So what you're talking to can't be a Fred. Because there's no Fred available. But you're talking to something, and what you're talking to is what? If it's not this, it's not that. It's not this, it's not that. What's left? Well, I notice that this is what I usually hear, something like, well, seems like awareness is still here. Yeah, yeah. Could you know anything if awareness wasn't here? Could you? No. You would not be having experience. You would not know who you were. Doesn't mean I'm saying that you aren't. I'm just saying that I don't have that kind of information. There's something there's something prior to consciousness and I don't understand it. I don't. I can't begin to say what it is. I know I am it and I know you are it. And these are the most important things to know. The why and the how of everything, everybody's so curious. Get rid of that stuff. It's just going to drive you crazy. It's not going to get you cleared up at all. Well, Neti, learn that. Look it up. Look up Neti. Look it up in the online. See what it is. If you decide to go with that practice, then maybe you'll decide if you like that practice and you make some progress with it, or even if you don't like it, but you make some progress with it, or whatever. You can always come to me, and I will help you with it. And I've got some very skillful inquiry over here. At any rate, good night. I love you. Good to see you. Bye bye.